Hello, dear friends, and welcome to our new podcast focusing on white wine tasting. Join us as we uncover new grape varieties and introduce you to wine producers that may have slipped past your attention. Additionally, we will delve into the historical, geographical, and ethical aspects of wine with a particular focus on sustainability. My name is Darina Blogina. So originally, I'm a musician and I play on historical flutes. I share this admiration about particularly white wines, but not only, with my co-host, Uli.
And my name is Uli Fusenecker. Yeah, I'm also not a professional wine taster. I'm also a musician, acting in a bit different field than Darina does in music, but we're both classically trained musicians. For a very long time lived in Austria in a region where they grow wine, so I got kind of over the years in very near contact with that, so my interest grew and grew and grew, and as I'm from Austria, of course, I'm a bit focused on white wine.
And today we are tasting something exciting that I think I have not tried yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. What are we having today?
Easily possible that you did not have it before because it's not very known. It's a Fiano di Avellino. Maybe to let you know, Avellino is a city around 50 kilometers east from Naples.
Why did you choose this wine for tonight?
Well, I know Avellino already since quite a while. I mean, the grape is called Fiano, and they're producing it also in Apulia. They're producing it a bit around in Campania, but this DOCG wine is the Fiano di Avellino. And I thought it would be exciting to try this one out, as outside Italy it's not so well known, and normally I like it a lot, but well, we did not try this specific one, so let's see what it's like.
I think we have already discussed this DOCG. Could you remind what it means?
Well, I hope I'm doing it right now. It's DOCG, means Denominazione di Origine. What is before? Controllata, and then the G stands for garantita. So guaranteed origin where the wine is from. And there are different regions, and this region is Avellino, and the Fiano is originally from there. As everything in that region is very old, and a lot of things the Greek brought, of course, to that part of Italy, it's not really clear where the grape comes from, but they think they have, they know that they can follow kind of the origin to that way back. The first, I think, written document about the wine is from like 1200 after Christ, but they have also fantastic red wines there. But the special thing about there, you know, it's all around the volcano Vesuvius, which is nearby Naples. So that whole central area of Campania, where the capital Naples is, they have these soil from volcano earth, which is of course the best you can get, especially for white wine.
Well, maybe it's time to introduce our new feature where we ask ChatGPT what it thinks about the wine that we are tasting at the moment. So let's read the features that are described on the internet. These grapes are renowned for their distinctive characteristics, including a vibrant acidity, refreshing minerality, and complex flavors. So it's always interesting to read this kind of descriptions and then to compare with my own individual perception of it. So we continue. They typically exhibit aromas and tastes of citrus fruits, tropical fruits, and hazelnuts. Alongside other indigenous grape varieties like Greco di Tufo, plays a significant role in crafting wines that reflect the unique environmental and cultural aspects of the region. Do you know this Greco di Tufo grape?
Yes,
What's that?
I would say I would correct ChatGPT here because there are three main grapes in the area. It's Fiano, which is kind of known as the most delicate one. The Greco di Tufo, which is a bit broader as a wine, also a dry one, but a bit more heavy. And the third famous grape from there is the Falangina. So this is the three dominant grapes in that area.
So that would be interesting to know more about the historical context.
For sure, but maybe we should have a try first, because...
Yes, let's go for it. So we need to say that we have discovered our glasses. They sound in different keys, in different tonalities. I think now we have played a minor second. Or a major second.
A major second, yes, and
It's a bit microtonal.
I think we checked it out. Yeah, it's a bit smaller than a major second, and I think yes. But we found out it's
F and G.
F and G.
Almost.
So if we say the F is like okay, then the G is a little bit low.
Okay, so with that knowledge.
We're not here for music, but for wine tasting.
Yeah, for once.
So what do you think about the smell?
I don't know, it's a bit bizarre impression what I have, but it's a really not a loud flower combined with a natural based paint.
Mm-hmm. And maybe a word to the color. I would say it's a pale yellow, which has an amount of green also in it.
Yes.
A tiny bit, but it's not this classical clear yellow we're often used to.
I don't see so much the green aspect of it, but to me it seems more like white yellow. And what do you think about the smell of it?
I think you already can smell that we will expect a very mineralic wine. I think you can already, I mean, stone does not smell, but I don't know, I cannot say it, but it's something I would think that will come up. I agree with a very delicate flower, which is a bit surprising because when you know the region in southern Italy, you would more expect really a strong tasting flower. And this is very elegant. And I mean, the wine is not so old. We're here talking about a wine from 2022.
It's a total difference from how it tastes. Like the smell and the taste, they are not matching at all, if I make sense.
I mean, it's surprising in terms of this flowerish aspect you were bringing up, because we don't have this at all when we drink it, when we taste it. Also, I think there is quite a present citrus note in the wine, which we could not smell.
Surprisingly for me, it tastes more like a plum, like green plum.
I think that's in the back of your mouth. When you let it down, the liquid, there is the plum aspect, but in the front of your tongue, there for me the citrus is more present at the very beginning. And yeah, I think this mineralic aspect is quite clear. I think it's pretty well structured also, this wine. And when you imagine from how much from the south this wine comes, it's really amazing how dry and how fresh it is, because they have so heavy sun there. And it's maybe because Avellino it's not what we here in Switzerland would call mountains, but it's quite high there. I think it's like 400 meters sea level where this wine comes from. Maybe they have quite cold nights, so sometimes, so that's why it works quite well.
Surprisingly, I do not entirely see the same picture as you when you try this wine. For me, it seems almost exotic taste, a very juicy plum, somehow flower, but not the same that I have experienced as a smell of this wine, but a totally exotic flower. And I do not really experience the orange or a citrus taste so much. For me, the plum aspect is more dominating.
Interesting.
In this pyramid.
I don't experience it like that. No, orange, it's absolutely not. It's really lemon for me in the very beginning, like this classical citrus taste. Exotic? I mean, when I think about exotics, I have more this thinking about, like you have in a Chardonnay, a banana, or like sometimes in specific Sauvignon Blancs, you have this mango or papaya thing. I do not really have this with this wine, to be honest. So I see what you could mean with exotic, but then when I should locate it to which kind of exotic fruit I would connect it, I do not really have this impression.
Yeah, I think that maybe comes from the fact that we are coming from different backgrounds and exotic things mean different things to us.
Yes.
And definitely I could feel this intense sunlight captured in this wine, and somehow maybe that is related to an exotic experience. But I definitely could experience this taste as a more heavy and intense from what we had before.
Yes, I agree. I would call it rich. I think the wine is very rich, but at the same time it's super dry, and it has quite an amount of acidity, but it's really rich. So that's what maybe comes when you're totally right when you're saying the amount of sun these grapes get. You can see that this wine has a lot of power, I think, but at the same time it's not broad, it's not heavy. It's still elegant. It has quite some minerality, and it's super dry. There's no sweet aspect. I mean, just that till 7 grams per liter, it's still called a dry wine. So 2 grams is really. But I don't have a fact sheet about this wine, but I think it's quite just a tiny bit.
Yes, so the percentage of alcohol is 12.5. Well-balanced wine in this regard.
Yes, and also I would imagine that they must have...
You have a friend in your glass.
They must have harvested it pretty early, I guess. Otherwise, they could not have got this luckily low percentage. By the way, we did not mention who the winemaker is, which is kind of embarrassing. We should do that. This wine is from a actually very famous producer from the region. It's TerreDora di Paolo, and it's one of the big producers of these higher class Fianos and also Greco di Tufo. So it's quite well known in the region. So it's not one of these we often have in our podcasts, like really local producers, small producers, but this is quite a bigger one.
For me, it still stays the biggest mystery of this episode, because as the wine now is developing and oxidizing in my glass, the smell still stays very different from the taste. And now the scent develops some kind of a milky aspect, which absolutely doesn't match my expectation from the smell, how it should taste like. And then it's like a bomb explosion in my mouth.
I mean, this milky thing, I don't know. I think you're way more sensitive in terms of that as you're a vegan. Even I'm not vegan, I'm not a milk lover. So I'm happy I don't have this association with milk. But I agree, it changes every 2 minutes. And I think the complexity comes out more and more. And also I agree what you said, this when you smell and you don't have this expectation that then such a variety of tastes, which also like changes to that amount would be expected, because just, we opened the bottle like 20 minutes ago. So it's not such a long time that it's, interacting with the oxygen.
Where did you find this wine and how did you find it?
Well, I know this producer since quite a while. And when last time when we were in Italy, we bought it and brought it up here. So I just wanted to have a Fiano in our podcast, because I think it's one of the most elegant Italian white wines you could find. I think it's, there are not so many of this quality and richness, and I thought it should be in our podcast, because, I think a lot of people don't know it outside Italy, so I thought, makes sense to bring it.
Let's talk about the history related to the Fiano and the historical context of this wine. There are several versions about the history of the grape, and one of them tells that it was the Greeks actually who brought the original Fiano grape to Italy when they were traveling around with their boats. The first wines were planted in Lapio.
Well, I can tell you there's one of the best producers of Fiano. I think the winery is called Colle di Lapio, so Hills of Lapio. So this must be around Avellino in the area.
And look, there are documents relating to Fiano wine were found as early as the 12th century. These are purchase orders from the court of Friedrich II of Swabia.
Yes, he was a big guy there in the south. There is a huge monument from him in Puglia, a very famous octagonal or hexagonal building, which is very beautiful, where they still did not find out why this was built, because it's not a church, it's not a castle.
Yeah.
It's just in the middle of nowhere is this super spectacular building. So, and this was Friedrich II.
Also, the King Charles II of Anjou in 1600, so he shipped this wine to Manfredonia. And also, documents dating back to the 13th century point to the order given by King Charles to Anjou to his commissioner to bring Fiano in order to plant them in his estates. It is amazing to observe also this historical context, as I often play music from 1600 and earlier, of course, and to see that there were documents dated 1592 addressed to some people to bring this wine, that we can plant it. So probably they were also having some kind of parties at the court where they played music that I am actually playing now, and they were drinking this wine that we are actually enjoying at this very moment.
I'm absolutely sure it was the case, but I'm at the same time absolutely sure that even if it was the same grape, it was a completely different kind of drink.
Oh, thank God, I guess. It was very different.
In terms of this, and not only of this, I'm happy to live in our time and not in the 16th century in terms of wine quality. Maybe it's only just what you're used to, but what we know from some documents, from our perspective, it must have been quite a strange drink they were having. Maybe we'll have another try and just leave a last comment if and how it has changed.
Mm-hmm. For me, it has changed definitely to a rounded version of this wine. My first impression of that, as I said, it was like a taste explosion. And now the scent and the actual taste, they rounded up together and they mixed and they achieved this harmonical level that I can describe as a delicious
Wow, that's a very nice last word you were giving. I must say, it's really a special experience to drink this wine. I think that's interesting with Fiano. It's hard to compare it to another wine, kind of. What do you think?
It's an outstanding wine, and I think definitely it's living its own life during the period of drinking of your evening. You're enjoying this wine, and I think that's definitely a very interesting experience to remark all these changes on the way.
Yeah, I totally agree. Good that we chose that one.
Thank you very much for finding. So we go on drinking and enjoy your evening, guys, and thanks for listening. So you can find all the additional links in the description of our episode. If you would like to support us or email us, you will find the email address in the description as well. If you have some ideas which wine we should observe next time, please let us know, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.